punching, I think of Lando. Punch it! He was black, huh?
He was black.
I liked him.
Everybody liked Lando, dude. Even
Lando
though he
was
was kind of
cool.
a scoundrel, like, we all liked Lando, dude.
I had no choice. Yeah. All right. Conspiracy. Unicorns once existed.
Why not?
Okay, so we had to get into this because I just can't take it anymore.
Go ahead.
So, of course, they didn't William Shatner rainbows and have gold hooves. I don't think they did. But
Probably
I don't
not
think
wings either.
that's a Pegasus.
Right. Yep.
I don't think that
You're right.
actually.
Actually, yeah, fair enough. You're right. You're right there.
I don't think that it's far fetched to think at some point there was a equestrian mammal that had a horn. When we already have deer without horns, with horns, we have goats with horns, we have rams, and then sheep without horns. I don't think it's far fetched to think that at one point there was a horse breed with a single horn. There's narwhals. That's basically the unicorn of the sea.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, and it does have that spiral to the thing.
Yeah, it looks just like a traditional
I think there
unicorn.
was at one point a horse with a horn. I think what happened was the early human beings hunted them down and killed them to harvest their horn to ground it down into powder as a fine powder to use as an aphrodisiac.
Why so specific?
Because I heard this thing about Chinese people like
Using unicorn horns as
using
aphrodisiac?
rhino horns to their peepees.
Oh, like a old school Viagra.
But like to increase, to extend.
Gotcha. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And then
Okay.
if you think, okay, this is what, once again, the affluent, right? They're like, a rhino horns is maybe if I ingest that,
That laugh was stupid.
right, dude? Like,
Yeah. No, dude.
that's what I'm saying. People get these weird ideas into their heads that, like, this will work. If I do this, then I
Well,
get
yeah,
this.
it's just like saying a bear is strong. So if I eat bear meat, I'll get strong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No,
I
dude,
remember.
I can see how one would get there.
I
to be
remember
honest.
in the Hollywood adaptation of Noah, which I mean, I liked it for what it was.
Was that the one with Maximus Decimus Meridius?
Yeah, that's the one, Maximus Decimus Meridius. His sons were asking, why do they eat those? Why do they eat the animals? Because biblically in the time of Noah, they hadn't eaten meat yet. I guess some people had the antediluvians or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he asks them, like, why do they eat them? And he goes, they think it makes them stronger. But protein does make you stronger. There are amino acids in meat, right? Yeah, it does.
But that's what. But you get my point though. Like, I'm gonna eat the bear specifically. Like, he could have eaten any meat and gotten protein from it and then gotten strength from it. But specifically, he's like, well, the bear is strong, and I will get bear strength if I eat bear meat.
Or channeling the spirit of blank.
Mm.
Something that comes to mind is the berserks in Viking times when they would channel and then what about somebody was talking about DMT and tripping, and I was like, that's not true. Oh,
I got something on DMT a little bit.
So he said it at work the other day. He said, because he listens to Joe Rogan all the time, and I was like, no, you got to think about this, man. Like, I know it makes sense on a like meta level, but it doesn't really play out, and it had to do with people. Oh yeah, the Salem witch trials. He was saying like there was ergot in the thing, and so with the rain and everything, there was like a fungus that grew, and they would all eat the wheat or the barley.
Okay. Yeah,
and it had a fungus on it, so they were all like microdosing and kind of tripping and thinking they saw things. And I was like, I don't think that's actually true, because I think the Salem witch trials were a legit like mass hysteria, because you don't have to go very far to see parallels in today's world where a man is a woman, and then some people disagree, but most people kind of go along because they don't want to like rustle feathers, and they just kind of go, yeah, okay, yeah, it's a man, it's a woman. And then they start enforcing those rules. Even if you don't believe them, they're like, oh, you can't say that. You can't say that. Like if I said gay retard, right? Then a lot of people in circles who didn't have a problem with that 5 years ago kind of go, oh, dang, dude, you're gonna get canceled.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, every time I say gay or retard, some gay retard tells me he's offended, right? So, so,
Look, dude,
but,
not to be insensitive, but like, gay used to be somebody's name, and then it was a slur, and now it's not. But you know what I mean
yeah.
by that. Like, it
my,
is and it
my
isn't.
my point is not to be offensive. My point is to say that the mass hysteria and enforcing, like, that's what happened in the Salem witch trials. There was a few people who started something, and people kind of went along with it because they didn't want to say like that's not the devil, because then they're like, oh well, you're just in league with him, right? It was like a societal enforcement
Yeah.
mechanism where they were like, I don't want to go
Yeah.
against this because then you'll say I'm not a good Puritan or whatever, or I don't want to say like like just like Iraq 9/11. It's like we shouldn't go to Iraq. Oh, you're not a patriot. You're just a
Yeah.
traitor, right? It's like these weird enforcement mechanisms. That's what happened. They weren't tripping. Okay.
You know what, dude? Just based because like I was watching bloopers from like the black and white days, whenever that was,
Okay.
with my wife, and I was like,
When
this
we
is
had different drinking fountains.
no, I'm sorry. Let me clarify.
I'm just kidding.
You get what I mean,
Yeah,
right?
I'm just
Okay,
kidding.
yes, when the TVs were black and white. Okay, yeah, you got me, dude. You got me. I freaking ran right into that like an idiot. That's fine. I'm fine with looking like an idiot. So I was watching bloopers with my wife, and I was like, these are, human behavior changes, but it also stays exactly the same.
It's yeah.
Right? So I was watching these bloopers, and I was like, dude, you can just put this in color, and I would swear to God that this is just today, because they're all saying the same things,
Yeah.
the same kind of jokes. Ha ha ha! I messed up the line. Blah blah. Reset. Blah 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 blah. It wasn't like, see? Like it wasn't any different. And so the point I'm making with that is that, based on the evidence of how people are acting today, like you were saying, with like going along with the culture, it makes 100% sense that it would be a cultural phenomenon and not a mass drug tripping. It actually makes less sense to say everybody in that town somehow ingested DMT somehow, and we're all tripping on the same thing.
And not just a little bit, a lot of it, right? So like when people say they found trace amounts of ergot in wine in the Roman times and people were tripping all the time, I think not the way you're thinking, if at all, not the way you're thinking, not the clinical high dose stuff we have today, where it's like if you take one pill, your eyes are bugged out, right?
Yeah.
At the very most, like for instance, I like our wine for the 14-15% alcohol content was not 14-15% back then. It was like, 8-9 at the most, because they didn't have the refining process that we have.
Right. Well, it's the same thing with weed, dude. Like every time some new guy comes through the detox who hadn't smoked in like 5 years, they're like, Jesus, I can't smoke weed anymore. Sorry, Lord.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. It's not. And then there was the conspiracy theory of like Christmas being that red and white mushroom, the Mario one.
Right. Yeah.
Because it has a lot of symbolism there with like the pineal gland and the pine cone and the Vatican Church, and then there's all this. It's like a web of like similarities. Right,
you got to take the path of least resistance, dude. The path of least resistance is that it was a cultural enforcement.
Right, like you take that mushroom and you see elves. That's why the elves are there. Santa Claus, and you're like,
look,
oh,
dude, I can see how you get there. I can see how you get there. But for it to be a cultural thing across multiple county lines or cities or whatever, I can't buy it, dude. I can't buy into that.
Dude, that's saying it like that is like a wordplay. It's like saying the currents of a river flow to the sea. That's why they call it a currency. And the sides of the river are called banks, which control the currency, which is why they're called banks, because the banks control the currency that flows to the sea for maritime law. Right?
I like it. You were ready with that one,
right?
Dude.
Or it's like saying they call it the weekend because you're weak and weakened after your week of work. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see how you get there. I can see how you get there.
There's like it's wordplay. It's not really.
You know what, dude? Ian does that a lot on Timcast. Ian Crossland.
I like that dude.
I love that dude. Like he gets a lot of hate, and I'm like, no, you need that guy.
I disagree with almost everything he says, but he you know why, dude? He plays the normal guy who's pretty uninformed and yet has opinions, but isn't afraid to be corrected. So
he's also not a dick.
Yeah, he throws a lot of stuff out there that's the wrong way, but at least he's checking all the avenues.
And I think it's half and half, dude. I think half of it is really just his opinion. I think the other half is like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna toss
No,
this in the mix and see
it
what
is
happens.
his opinion. That's the thing. It is his opinion. It's just wrong. So
No,
like,
that's what I mean. I do believe that sometimes he's just like, I'm just gonna throw this out there and see what happens.
Yeah.
Like, right? Just want to throw this into the mix.
all right. What about like vibration theory, string theory, vibration theory? Everything has a frequency, a vibration, and one thing you do in some way, like a waveform of an entire song.
Right.
And if you add one sound in there, it changes it ever so slightly.
Yeah.
So every action you do or every like emotion you put out there changes the frequency of the entire universe in some small way. Do you think yes or no?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Multiple universes.
No. What do you mean? Like the multiverse?
As in like
Like
there's
MCU?
another universe that exists with you with every choice you could possibly make. Divergent choices.
Yes.
I say no.
It's tough, dude. It's tough because as a Christian, I'm like, well, if God wanted that to be, like, why not?
Because no.
I
I'd
guess,
just say
but
no.
if he's outside of space time, right? He could just be.
I will say this. I will say it this way. My predisposition is I will not believe something until there's a reason to believe something. You have to,
I suppose, yeah.
right? Like I'm the person that's like I'm not gonna do something until there's a reason to do it, which is why I don't go outside and paint myself blue and naked, because you haven't given me a reason to do that. It's a why not, right?
I'm with that. That's usually how I am. I'm usually pretty disagreeable in that sense. I just that question is tough for me only because like on the one hand I'm like I'm a Christian and so God is all powerful and so I don't believe that it just one universe makes more sense with if for whatever reason to me. But if the world is endless possibilities,
I don't think the world is endless possibilities. I think everything has already happened. I think we're just catching up in our consciousness because we're inside this time dilation.
right? Like if you were in the fourth dimension, you could see past, present, and self out at the same time.
No, because the fourth dimension isn't time, but space-time is the third dimension.
What's the fourth dimension?
The fourth dimension is a spatial dimension. It's like a tesseract.
Okay.
So like you have a line, which is 2-dimension. You have a square, 3, cube, 4. And no, sorry. Line is 2. Line is 1. A line is 1, 2 points. Square is 2, cube is 3, and then a tesseract would be the fourth dimension of that cube, which we can't see or perceive because we're in the third. We can go down but not up. The only way I know how to explain this is like, I'll be quick. Like, if you're a 2-dimensional being, you exist on a piece of paper. I hover my finger over that piece of paper, and the person in the paper can't see it or perceive it at all.
Yes.
But when I touch my finger to the paper, they can perceive the tip of my finger that's touching the paper. That's it.
Right.
They can't perceive any of the rest of my hand or anything. They can only see what I put in their dimension. And they'll never be able to grasp what a finger really is because all they can see is like the flat tip of that's pressing against the thing.
Yeah.
They can't see, right? So just like us, like we can perceive 3-dimensional things, length, height, width, but we can't perceive what a fourth would even look like. But it does exist.
No, I'm inclined to believe that, dude, because we can't even see the full spectrum of light or radio waves and stuff.
Yeah.
And I know that's like kind of different, but
that's a good point.
Well, that's kind of my argument for like maybe you don't need to believe in God, dude, but like right now there's like thousands of waves going off right now. There's waves coming off the computer, there's waves coming off the camera, there's waves coming off my phone, and I just don't see them.
Let me say it this way: like, space can't exist without time, and time doesn't exist without space, because what time is one thing not being able to be in two places at once. So it has space to be in more than one place. So by it moving to another space creates time, which is why it slows down the faster you go.
Right.
Because the faster you go, the more close you are to being in all places at once.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Well,
does that make sense?
Yeah, that's why I believe you can go. I mean, that's already kind of proven. You can go forward in time, We have no idea if you can go backwards in time. Maybe, but not humans.
You can only. This is for me, my theory. You can only go forward until you're going so fast and you're in everything at once, and then it doesn't matter if you're going back in time or not because you're all in one place at once. And then it just right. So I don't think multiple universes exist and choices exist. I think it's all been done. We're just catching up, like a reel of a film. It's you put the thing in the VCR and you're just seeing the pictures go forward and you're catching up because we can't perceive it that fast.
I can see that, dude. So then okay, let's get weird, dude. How do you feel about free will then?
Of course we have free will. That doesn't change the fact that it's all already happened.
You know what? That used to bother me. The thing that it's preordained, but you have free will used to bother me. But it's like just because it already happened doesn't mean you didn't choose to do it.
Right.
Right. Doesn't mean you didn't have the free will to make other choices. You just chose to do that one.
I think that the closest I've ever gotten to like getting a handle on it and explaining it was probabilities. That like based on the input of your life, your output is pretty determinable. Or at least like in terms of patterns, like you said, like human nature, human behavior really doesn't change.
Yeah, like we change, but we don't change at the same time.
The zeitgeist changes, right? But the human behavior does not change.
Yeah.
What did I say? Human. I said something on a previous podcast about like, it's not human emotion, it's not human behavior, it's morality. Human morality? No, I don't remember. But anyway, it doesn't change.
You got a point there. Yeah,
it doesn't change. And like who you are, yeah, maybe, I think people can change who they are, but human behavior in general does not change.
Yeah. Now, someone having the ability to change, like when they say people can never change, like absolutely people can change, but human behavior over the span of time, I don't think changes very much.
You have more in common with people 2,000 years ago than you think.
Well, that dude, when I was watching those blooper reels, I was like, wow, like it doesn't seem like things were like, of course, like the social norms, the culture, but just the human behavior in general, people interacting with other people just doesn't seem to change that much. And neither do the problems don't seem to change that much either.
Dude, I'm getting tired too of people with the superiority complex of the modern age. Like, if I was transported 200 years back in time, I would be freaking useless. You know what I mean?
I think we started to touch on this on a previous podcast, dude, where you were saying, do you think you were talking about something, and you made a couple of different points. You talked about the girl who made the MRI, and you talked about like the philosophers of old, and are they dumb because they believed in certain things? And it's like we might have the ability to know more. I'll put it that way, because we don't know more. We have the ability to have more knowledge than all the previous generations. We just don't. But take it back 200 years ago. Okay, now go survive in the Wild West America.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, if I were transported back in time and I knew all the knowledge I know now, I'd be like, yeah, well, you know, there in the future we have like plumbing and we can get drinking water into our home. It's like, well, then make it. I don't know. Or like, you know, like,
well, look, dude,
if we have filters for our water, it's like, make one. I don't know.
And to be fair, like there are some people who know plumbing, who know farming, but there's a lot of specialization now, right? So they don't know everything anymore. There's not one. Okay, there is one guy who can do everything, sure, but the average American,
good for you.
The average American can't do everything. Like even the engineer can't do everything. You're not Rick from Rick and Morty.
Yeah, like if you go back in medieval times and people are like bloodletting to fix their ailments, and you're like, okay, you shouldn't do that. Why not? Because you see the blood, the thing, it's not in there, but it is in there. But there's these things called germs, and it's like, and you just kind of
your body has antibodies.
Just trust me, dude. Just drink some water and be better. And then they do what you say, and they still die. And then like, a witch. And then you're just like, this sucks, dude. I'm dying. I'm being burned alive because I went back in time and tried to help these people. You just can't help these people. So, you know.
Oh, dude, the point is, though, what do you call it? The superiority complex.
And the same thing would happen if they came to the future. There would be a guy that basically said, like, why woman, why are you working? You should go make me a sandwich or go back and take care of your kids. And then we'd all be, witch, what? But no, we wouldn't be. We'd be, bigot, bigot.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing. Different
Conservative.
age. Yeah.
Conservative.
Yeah. Yeah. Nazi.
There you go. That's a more appropriate response. Yeah. How far back you wouldn't even have to go that far back to get that though.
I think, dude, honestly, I would have a lot of fun. Would you rather be in Roman times or Wild West?
Wild West.
How did they catch people back then when people committed crimes? How did they know, like, that's the guy? Like, because somebody drew a picture? You know? Now they're like, we could track your bank accounts. Like, oh, he used his debit card at this ATM. He's on the run. He's going eastbound. But, like, back then, you just ran away to another state and, like, yeah, are you Billy the Kid? No.
I don't think they
Like,
did,
what
dude.
the
I don't think they either caught him in the local community where they knew the person, or the guy just got away. Like, I don't know if that's true or not. This is based on literally nothing.
Yeah. I wonder if there was more or less crime, though, because dude, I had the same conversation the other day about cops, and I was basically saying, like, if there were no cops, people would feel more inclined to step up and do something. Now, that's a good and bad thing, but they would not tolerate half the stuff they do, and they certainly wouldn't sit there with a camera and film it. They would be
This
like,
is what I think.
nobody's coming to help. That's it. I'm sick of this, right?
It all depends, dude. It all depends. I don't think in cities. I think some people would step up. I still think most people would be like, oh my gosh, it's a shame there's no one to do anything about that. But I think that's a city thing, right? I think there's less crime based on nothing, just based on what I hear in the news about crime in cities and rural areas. I think there was less crime back in the day, maybe totally made up, because everyone was more spread out. So there's kind of less crime to even commit because you're not near a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're more spread out, you're more in charge of your own land, you're more likely to get off a property, get the gun out, and stuff like that.
That makes
sense.
But
I think if right now in modern cities, even in Huntington, the more quote unquote conservative city, I think if you got rid of the cops, I still think a lot of people would just be like, man, it's a shame we don't have somebody to deal with that. I think some people would, but I think most people would still walk by.
That's true, because I can see in, like, turn of the century London, people going down the alley and being like, I'll be taking your purse off, you good sir, if you don't mind. You know, and just, like, taking, you know what I mean, with the knife.
And I just thought of something, too, this false sense of security where I'm around a bunch of people and no one's going to do anything. Right? And so you stop getting used to defending yourself because you're around a bunch of people. Most people don't mess with you when you're around a bunch of people, but there is going to be that guy, right? Where if you're alone, you're like, no one's going to take care of me. I have to take care of myself. I think that's the different mindset between cities and rural areas.
It depends on the rural area, too, because if there are, like, the poor, you know what I mean? Like, I think of, like, the Green Mile, where you just get away with stuff because you could kill the whole family on the farm and just, I don't know what happened.
Fair point, but I think if you're like just like a farm owner, you're far more likely to have killed something, and so you're used to defending yourself. Like maybe you didn't kill a person, right?
Yeah,
but you definitely killed foxes and raccoons and maybe a deer, maybe a bear.
I think also because people. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. You're good.
I think because people in the rural areas tend to need each other more. Like you need so and so to help you with the harvest, or you need so and so because they're the plumber and you're the electrician, and you need each other. And why would you want to kill you? You're a resource to me, and I'm a resource to you. So it's just, I don't know. It's just me thinking ideas or whatever.
I think that's what it is, dude. The total bizarre thing about cities, dude, is that there's more people around you and that there's less people you know. And then you go to a small town with less people around you and there's more people you know. It's weird.
That is weird. Yeah. That is weird because what's the etiquette of who do you say hi to in a city? Everybody? No.
Well, it's funny, dude. I was talking to Nikki about this because she was talking about wanting to move to a more conservative place where she can say hi to people and not have them look at her weird. I'm like, yeah, dude, I totally get that because I get half and half. I say hi to a lot of people and they just kind of, they give me the okay, I acknowledge that you said something to me, or I get the like, I'm just going to keep walking past you. Please don't talk to me again.
Dude, I sometimes think that's the case with homeless people, like because they're in the city, that literally people walk by like you don't exist to me, and if you're gonna act out and weird, and then you definitely don't exist to me because I'm not dealing with you. And,
Right, we touched on that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and the same token of like even just being at the grocery store, like I go the same one every time, and I see them all the time, and I still don't say hi to them like I know them, right?
Yeah,
I go
well,
through the same dude's check stand almost every single time, and we know each other. He recognizes me. We don't, you
and
know.
I wonder if it's because I have kids that it is a little bit different for me. Like I either go to Ralph's or Stater Brothers, and I usually see the same people and yada yada yada. And when I go by myself, we don't say a whole lot. But when I go with the kids, it's a different story. There's a lot more like, oh hey, blah, blah, how
Yeah.
you doing, kids? Good. Blah. Oh, you guys want stickers? Blah 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 blah.
Have you seen the movie Children of Men?
I have not.
It basically explores a world where like children don't exist anymore, and the last person that was like born 18 years ago, so there's no kids, and like a world robbed of like a child's laughter, the possibility of the future, the promise of like young and up and coming kids. The innocence has been completely stripped of the world,
Hmm.
and what would happen if as a result. And it's pretty. It was a pretty cool. They didn't get deep into it enough. I think it probably could have been a show or something, but it was a cool concept because that's 100% true. Because if I saw that, if this is apocalypse and that dude from the grocery store, who I know, we're friendly, if he comes up to my house, like, please let me in, no, you're going to have to get your fire
No.
water somewhere else, boy. No, you're not coming in this house.
Man, what?
I'll let you in. Never mind. Never mind. No, I was going to be a jerk, but nah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm not gonna say.
All right, all right, all right, yeah. Now, what a weird concept they do that. Like, how game changing and world changing is that concept of no kid? Like, just imagine, word goes out, no kids ever are gonna happen again. Like, how much would that change your life?
Oh, it changes the math on everything because there's a lot of things that will now go. But okay, it's just like that question: would you rather know how you die or when you die? Because knowing how
Hmm.
you die, you're gonna be constantly wait. Say you die in a car accident. Every time you get in the car, you're gonna be like, "Is this the day?" But if you know when, it's gonna change your math because you're like, "I'm not gonna waste my time on this or that because I only got 6 years. So why would I go do this when the payoff isn't for 10 years?"
Right.
Right? So it changes the math, and dude, it would suck without kids and stuff because I think they say that the the I don't remember what they call it, but basically like when you're 33, your taste in music freezes. Typically, it's like taste freeze or
Yeah.
something. What they call
Yeah.
it, like basically like
I think it happens before that, but I get
I
the
think it
point.
does too to most people.
Well, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I still catch myself listening to a lot of stuff from like 2012, 2013, 2014 because I just default to them, but that's usually when like
Yeah.
you're set. Basically, you kind of have your hobbies. You kind of have you could change them and stuff, but for the most part, like you're set in your way, right? And so if you
You're
don't,
less likely to do new stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
and if you don't have new stuff coming in, new fresh whatever, like it just that would be pretty stale, man. It would that on the other hand, it would change the power dynamic too. Like all the youngest people would be the most powerful, and the old people would be like just these like I don't know. We wouldn't be electing 72-year-old presidents. To tell you that.
Yeah. Well, we shouldn't be
I
doing
don't know
that.
why we do that, man.
Dude, the only old president I can get behind was Trump. Outside of that, like, I mean, you saw the video, right? Because you follow the Daily Wire, right? Saw the video
I
of
don't.
you
I
know follow the
don't.
Daily Wire?
No.
Did you know the Daily Wire?
I do. I do.
Bitch
Yeah.
Bear, all those guys.
Yeah.
Did you see the video of Biden with that whatever I don't remember what he was talking about, but his like eyes were like fully dilated. He looked all pale and he's just like staring like this whole time and just talking like this. You didn't see that?
I think I saw it.
You gotta look it up after this, dude. It's
where he doesn't blink.
Yeah, you saw that video?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Why are we electing old ass people like that?
I don't know, man. I honestly believe that for the most part, people elected him as an anti-vote. They were like, just
Everybody thinks
not
that.
the orange
yeah,
man.
Yeah.
Right?
Orange man bad. He said mean things. Didn't you know that?
How often do you think elections are rigged and or votes added? How often do you think it is?
I just gotta give the generic answer, bro. I think that it happens. I don't. I am skeptical, except for in 2020. I was way more skeptical in 2020. I'm not saying it happened or not. I'm more along the lines of Tim Pool, where it's like there was a conspiracy, but not the way you think, right? Like they changed the voting laws in Pennsylvania, and there wasn't one voting day. It was like a voting month or whatever. Like there was a lot of things that skewed things in favors for Democrats, and I think that's kind of how they quote unquote stole it, but legally. But to your question, how often do I think votes are not counted or counted extra or whatever? Like I'm sure it happens. I I I am skeptical to believe that it happens on such a scale as to actually affect the election. But you know, to say that it doesn't happen out of 330 million people, like that's hard to say. That somebody somewhere's not cheating a little bit.
I think that people cheat in poker games and Monopoly, and I think it's stupid to believe they wouldn't cheat in something as important as an election.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Well, but you also got the guys with integrity. That's what I mean. Like there are people with integrity, but
Integrity Farms. Sorry.
it's well, the guys with integrity are easy to I don't know,
Push
man.
over, yeah.
I don't know. That's just hard to
Dude,
say.
I played Monopoly with this dude, and I caught him cheating, and he said, "I'm sorry, I'll put the thing back," and I'm like, "No, the game's over. The game's over, dude." And I quit, and then for like every single time he asked me to play again, I was like, "I don't play with you, dude. You cheat." Like I was willing to, dude, I was playing worship with the dude. I was like totally getting along with him, except with the Monopoly thing. I just put a hard line. I was like, dude, like the whole point of playing Monopoly, cheating's not part of the game. I know you think it is. Like if you can get away with it, you can. But because you think that way, I'm unwilling to play with you. And I was just like made such a hard line about it. Was just like
Interesting.
because it's like, dude, if you're that ruins the entire fun of the game. Like
Mm-hmm.
one of the coolest things about a game is the competition of like I beat you through like my wits, my skill, or my talent, like I beat you, right? But if you're cheating, then it's just like
It's the same with any competition. Like it's not fun if somebody cheats. Any competition.
right. So like say like you wanted to arm wrestle, right? Because some people argue that well, cheating is part of it. They got one over on you, and it's like, well, what if I wanted to arm wrestle? We're arm wrestling, and you're holding a bar underneath to give yourself more leverage. Like, is that even fun? Like, what are you getting out of that? You haven't proven that you're stronger at all. You've proven nothing, but the fact that you're willing to manipulate to get what you want. That's everybody's capable of doing that. You've proven nothing to yourself or me. All you've done
Yeah,
is
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
So all you've proven is your dishonesty. So it's like that's not a hard thing to have or do.
Let me
That's not
segue into something here. It was a conversation. I was over at Dad's house with Nikki, and she was talking about this really sweet video of these like 11 to 12-year-olds playing baseball. You seen this one?
no.
I guess the pitcher throws the ball, hits the kid in the head. Kid goes down. Kids end up being okay. Goes to first base. Pitcher starts crying. Boy goes over to pitcher, says, "It's okay, man." And like, isn't that sweet? And I was like, that is a really sweet video. But that also, for me, I think highlights a problem with this generation.
What's the problem?
Men don't know how to be men anymore. I don't think there's anything wrong with feeling bad. I don't think there's anything wrong with going, dude, I'm really sorry. Didn't mean to hit you in the head. Not cool of me. But I think it's okay for men to be in touch with their emotions, but I also think that men need to be men, right? Like when my kid cries because I told him he can't have ice cream tonight, that's not acceptable to me.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe he just like hadn't experienced. So, like, I would say with all eyes on him, he now feels like a villain because the kid went down. And everybody's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And in his mind, he's thinking people are looking back like, "Are you okay?"
Microphone.
Like they're thinking like, "Are you okay?" And while looking back, like, oh, "That bad kid, look what he did." Right. So
Well,
he feels like a villain.
that highlights another problem then.
What's the problem? That he feels like a villain and didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah, and nobody should be condemning anybody. If the kid said he was sorry, then get over it. Like he didn't. It was an accident. There's no need to look at him and vilify him. It wasn't malicious. You guys are playing a game. You got hit in the head. That happens
Yeah.
in
Okay.
sports.
All right. So yeah, I just wanted you to elaborate on that. That yeah, I completely agree. That's like, you got hurt. It was an accident. Nobody has said that bad kid on the pitcher's mound or anything.
Well, that's what I mean. And like the girls, Nikki and Sally thought it was like, oh, it's so sweet. And I'm like, it is sweet, but I also think like I think it's a problem. What are you crying for, dude? You are a man.
That's another thing that irritated me, dude, on Mother's Day when people were like, shout out to all the single mothers who are also doing the dad's job. And I was like, ah. First of all, where is the man? Okay.
Exactly.
Like, you're not doing the dad's job. You can't. You cannot do that job.
Just like I can't do the mother's job.
Right, exactly.
I cannot do my wife's job.
You can try. You can fill in. Like, if you're a single parent and you're raising the kid alone, you're not doing the job of two parents. You're doing the job of one, and the kid's losing out. Okay, that's what's happening. You're
Dude,
not doing both.
That's not a dig.
That's
Good on
not-
you,
that's
dude.
not a dig.
Good on you for making it work. But to your point,
Right, that's not a dig. That's like you're on a 2-man bicycle and you're doing all the pedaling because there's nobody else on the pedal thing. You're doing the work of two. No, you're doing the work of one. You're just missing somebody. That's it. So that's not a dig. That's just a reality check that like you're not doing the role of a dad. And in fact, I'm not even sure you deserve accolades because where is the guy? Did you force him out? Did you move away? Did you guys not make it work? Like what happened? And like I'm not trying to be sexist or anything, but like women initiate 80% of divorces. So,
I saw that one.
So 4 out of 5 chance that he's not there because of you. So why am I now patting you on the back for doing the job of one person?
Oh, exactly.
So I don't know.
I bet it goes into the deeper conversation where I think men have forgotten how to be men, dude. And it may seem harsh of me, but like, dude, excuse my language to that video. You're being a pussy, bro. You are. Look, you apologize. You manned up. I'm sorry, man. Didn't mean to hit you in the head. You did the right thing. What are you crying for?
Yeah, because part of me wants to be super cynical and be like, you saw the sympathy he was getting, and that made you sad because you want attention, so you started crying because now.
Maybe, dude.
Like,
I don't know. It could be both.
And then it's like, just, I don't know. I don't want to be cynical.
Look, let's not be cynical. Let's say he really felt bad. It's like, dude, you're too squishy. You shouldn't be crying over that. Like I tell my boys this all the time. I have 2 sons. I tell them all the time, it is okay to cry. It is not okay for you to cry because you scraped your knee, or because I told you no, you can't stay up late, or because that kid has a toy and you don't.
What's
no.
an acceptable reason to cry? Death?
Yeah. Dude, look.
And that's it.
I
Just
mean,
kidding.
I mean, dude, like honestly, for men are supposed to be strong. So yes, there's times to cry. Like I cried when Summer was born.
Okay, you're
Right.
allowed to cry in moments of pure joy, death, and if a bald eagle flies overhead. Other than that, nothing. And the bald eagle's just a single tear. You shed a single tear and you choke the rest back. Okay, I know
Like a man.
Yeah. Right.
No, but I mean, really, dude. Like men are supposed to be strong, and so like I'm not saying you can't cry. But what I am saying is that you don't need to cry over everything. You don't. And I don't think it's appropriate for men to cry over everything like that.
I don't think it is either.
Men are supposed to be strong.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. I think death, pure joy, not just like I'm so happy right now. It has to be like
Like when my daughter was born, dude.
That
I was overwhelmed.
And then that's it. So,
Dude,
other-
like, look, I'm not saying there's not other reasons. I'm saying, like, as a man, there's not a lot in my eyes that like is acceptable.
and man,
I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this one, but like, bring it on, dude.
and
Bring it
if-
on.
And if you get your dick cut off, you're allowed to cry.
Yeah, you're like, you get a week for that one.
Yeah.
Maybe a month.
You're allowed to kill yourself. I think.
No, nope,
okay.
no, not allowed to kill
All
yourself.
right. Sorry.
I get the joke, but joking.
I just don't.
I mean, look, dude, I don't see a whole lot of. That's superficial and fish. I don't see a whole lot of reasons to live
That's a
after that.
freaking bummer, dude. That's a bummer.
That would be a bummer, dude. That'd be a bit. Man.
Let's have a moment of silence.
Moment of silence for the men who got the dicks cut off.
Okay.
All right.
Don't want to be gay. Okay. Sorry.
That's all good.
All right, yeah. I think that's. I'm all out of conspiracy theories. We could go for days on half of these.
Yeah, we'll pick it up next time, man.
Let's pick up one more.
Hit me with one more.
The chemtrails. Okay. The moon landing.
Hit me with the moon landing.
The moon landing, dude. Okay. Come on, dude. You think in the 60s we had the technology to put a man on the moon and we just haven't gone back since or improved that technology at all?
Yeah, why not?
Dude, okay, I got a video to show you where there's like all these reflections and stuff in the thing, and they look like they're floating and stuff. And you think in that time we didn't want to like fake some, so like we weren't the first to space, we weren't the first person put a person in space. We needed a win, and we didn't decide to just do a deep
I
fake
mean,
on
look,
it.
dude, I hear where you're coming from. The only thing that I'm saying is like, why haven't we gone back? Why would we? We already went to the moon.
The Nazis on the other side. Gotta
I
kill.
forgot about the
Just
I
kidding.
forgot about the Nazis on the other side.
I don't know. I just honestly, dude, I just don't think it's. I don't think it happened. I don't think it happened.
Well, you know what? Let's pause it right here. Next podcast, let's dig into this. Let's dig into this moon thing. Let's spend a good 20 minutes on this moon thing. I want to
Okay.
get into this one, bro.
All right.
All right.
Let's do that.
All right. You wanna shout anything on? You wanna give a little Yo-Yo Ma was a famous
No,
cellist?
I mean I'm still working on my little album I got going on. It should be done shortly, and then other than that, Yo-Yo Ma's a famous cellist.
Also, look out for the bow ties. The bow ties are coming back. So, you don't know what that is? That's okay. You'll know soon enough. Yo-Yo Ma was a famous cellist. Thanks for listening.